Cable Bahamas has been and continues to be a positive shot in the arm for our summer camps. We look forward to it. Without Cable Bahamas, I don't know if we will succeed because we look forward to the funding and we are very appreciative, particularly the Cable Cares program. We are very appreciative to what they do.
We thank the Cable Cares Foundation, which would have given into this program, and it's going to pay dividends in the long run because each one of these children are affected.
Well, Cable Bahamas Foundation has helped us in a huge way. We are out there looking for all kind of help, and I am so happy that the Cable Foundation didn't decline us based on the economy and what is going on today.
So they've been with us for a long time, and we look for them to be with us for many years to come.
Tropical Storm Erika may miss most of the Bahamas as it runs into even more unfavorable conditions. We've got the latest. The British and Canadian governments warned their citizens about crime in the Bahamas. Plus, a man confesses to drug possession after his elderly parents were locked up in a major bus. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Kyle Joaquin, and NB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to NB12. Meteorologists are closely watching Tropical Storm Erika as it makes its way through the Caribbean and to the Bahamas. The storm, according to meteorologists, is getting even weaker as it crosses the mountainous island of Hispaniola. There is a possibility that Erika could make landfall in the Bahamas as a tropical depression or weaker. However, they're also urging residents to not let their guard down as yet, as Erika is also a difficult storm to predict.
We know that the conditions that it's undergoing is not favorable at all for the storm. So the question now is who would come out on top? The storm or the environment?
All eyes are on Tropical Storm Erika as it passes over Hispaniola. After putting a beating on the tiny Caribbean island of Dominica yesterday, Erika has now found itself struggling to stay together. Senior Deputy Director at the Department of Meteorology, Jeffrey Simmons, explains.
So what has happened is that Erika has found itself with its center now being more or less trapped to the south of Hispaniola. So if Erika were to make its way toward us on the track that we have it on, that it would travel on, it now have to cross Hispaniola, which is a mountainous part. So the mountainous terrain itself is going to have some serious effect on Erika, and it's going to really, with the center already being displaced, that's a disadvantage with it going into that area.
And along with some other winds working against the system, Simmons says there's the possibility Erika could leave Hispaniola as a tropical depression or just a tropical wave. A tropical storm warning has already been issued for the southeast Bahamas, with the remainder of the country under tropical storm watch. But as it approaches the archipelago, Simmons says Erika is a bit difficult to predict.
Even though there is a good possibility that Erika could emerge off the north coast of Hispaniola, no longer being a tropical storm, there's the possibility that it could happen, that it could still maintain its tropical storm status. It may be weak, but it may still be a tropical storm.
And if it were to emerge as a tropical storm off the coast of Hispaniola, it would enter an area between Cuba and the Bahamas, which is favorable for development.
Now emerge still intact off the north coast of Hispaniola. Development can now, it can redevelop, I should say, and possibly become a tropical storm again, or remain as a status, or become stronger, really.
And although Erika was projected to go directly through the Bahamas, its projected path has shifted, moving along the southwestern portion of the country up along Florida. At least 12 people have been confirmed dead on Dominica. Back in the Bahamas, lines at grocery stores and water depots are getting longer, a sign that folks are still preparing for the storm. But regardless the state Erika is in when it hits the Bahamas, Simmons says one thing is for sure: those in low-lying areas should brace for flooding.
We still do expect some rain, some heavy rainfall from the system because, like I said, even if it emerges as only a tropical wave, that's still or low, it still have a lot of shower activities involved. So we can still see our islands getting some rainfall from Erika, from the remnants of it, if not from Erika itself.
Well, murders in the Bahamas, according to Nassau Guardian records, are up 24%, and the international community appears to be taking note. British and Canadian tourists are being warned to exercise a high degree of caution while vacationing in New Providence. The new travel alerts appeared on each country's website yesterday, where they specifically cited a rise in sexual assaults while pointing out that some foreigners have been reported being sexually assaulted by water sports rental operators. They also warned that armed robberies targeting tourists in Nassau were on the rise, incidents which they claim take place in populated and isolated areas even during daylight hours. The countries warned their citizens to avoid deserted beaches and walking alone, particularly after dark. The UK website cautioned against jet ski rentals, as it is said tourists have been seriously injured using jet skis and other watercraft in Nassau due to a poorly regulated water sports rental industry. Both countries spoke to the Bahamas' water sports industry, which they described as poorly regulated. A 41-year-old man of Winton Estates was sentenced to 3 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to possession of 581 pounds of marijuana today. Kent Knowles admitted to Magistrate Samuel McKinney that the drugs found at his home Wednesday night were his. According to police, it was around 7:10 that officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit went to the home at number 3 Hilton Drive. After searching the home, they found nothing, but after using force to enter a shed connected to the home, they found 11 croquet sacks, 3 brown taped packages, and 7 sealed plastic packages of marijuana. As officers continued their search, they found even more packages of marijuana. In total, the drugs have an estimated street value of $581,000. At the time of the seizure, Knowles was in home. Instead, his 75-year-old father, George, his 71-year-old mother, Miriam, and his 46-year-old sister, Kim, were taken into custody. His father told officers that only his son had a key to the shed. Knowles was arrested the next day. In court, his parents and sister all pleaded not guilty and were subsequently released. Knowles' attorney, Tokoyo Bridgewater, asked the magistrate in considering his sentence to take into account that the fact that his client is a 41-year-old landscaper with a 6-year-old son and a fiancé. He continued that his client expressed remorse to the court as well as his parents and his sister. But the magistrate told Knowles that as a 41-year-old man, he is mature enough to know not to do anything outside of the law, and that as a landscaper, he shouldn't be collecting the wrong kind of grass. As they left the court, Knowles' mother was in tears. In addition to his 3-year sentence, he was given a $20,000 fine. In other news, Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner is accusing the government of rank cronyism, victimization, and poor governance as she claimed the government changed an existing gas contract on Long Island. She said as the island prepares for Tropical Storm Erika, the emergency services have been compromised, leaving the lives of Bahamians in limbo. Simone Davis reports.
The Long Island MP claimed that because the government has yet to sign off on the new contract, emergency services have been unable to get gas. However, when contacted for comment, Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkitis said the ministry advised all agencies to stock up on fuel in advance of the storm. While he did not speak to the new contract, Halkitis said no essential service on any of the family islands should be without fuel. Butler Turner said as the island prepares for Tropical Storm Erika, she believes that emergency services have been compromised.
We have a situation in Long Island today which has been exacerbated by the fact that the islands are now preparing for the onslaught of Tropical Storm / Hurricane Erika. The essential services and the emergency services, particularly the health services on Long Island, are compromised at this point because the government has pulled the contract for vehicles to be fueled and apparently given the contract to another company, which they have not yet consummated.
According to Butler Turner, the government intends to sign a new contract with Sun Oil Limited, a decision she called ludicrous.
As it stands, our emergency personnel and their vehicles are without fuel on Long Island, and we have a storm on its way.
Halkitis told the Nassau Guardian that the decision to manage expenditure on gas centrally was to better monitor control cost. The Long Island MP said in the absence of a response from the financial secretary, she advised the island administration to ensure all vehicles needed for emergency services are filled up at the expense of her constituency fund.
I do understand from the island administrator, however, that all government agencies are supposed to now procure their fuel from Sun Oil. And while Sun Oil is in fact a business that may in fact be more populated in other islands, we don't have large numbers of service stations in Long Island. which is a very Long Island. I question as well, why is it that this was done, knowing that it seems to be that the government is now using the taxpayers' money to all be directed to one of their major financiers, who is also one of the major shareholders in the Sun Oil company.
In a statement from the Ministry of Finance sent out Thursday night, the ministry stated that in light of the approaching tropical storm Erika, added flexibility is being extended in the Family Islands to allow government vehicles to obtain fuel on credit from service stations that are in close proximity to the offices or residencies where officers are stationed. It also stated that public officers should ensure that all invoices record the license plate number of the government vehicle, the authorized driver, and the tax identification number of the supplier. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
When NB12 returns, BUSAWU signs a new industrial agreement. Stay tuned.